Have you ever been at Mass, preparing to receive the Eucharist, watching the priest at the altar, blessing the host, consecrating the wine? You close your eyes and say, "Lord, only say the word and my soul shall be healed." Open your eyes, look at the altar, and you see a woman approaching. My heart sinks, especially if I am on the right side of the aisle, because that is the aisle I know the woman will be standing on. I'm Allie Marie, this is My Catholic Perspective. I got in this conversation with a friend of mine this week about how I do not like receiving the host from a woman. There are a variety of ways that I serve in the church, but being a Eucharistic minister of the host, of Christ's body, is not a way that I have ever felt comfortable serving. Have I ever served the wine? Yes, but I adamantly said I could not touch the body of Christ because Christ is who distributed it. It is the sole function of the Eucharist, and the only reason I helped with the wine was because there was a necessity for it. We didn't have enough men to step up to administer the wine. So what do we do with this? Why do I feel so strongly? In the early church, women were not allowed manly functions. Even today, women are not allowed to be priests, and it's beyond not allowed. Let's phrase it as women are not capable of being priests. This is because Christ himself was the high priest. Christ himself was biologically male. We have the sexes. We have nature versus nurture. We have roles. I believe in gender roles. I do. Now, does that mean that a woman cannot be assertive? Does that mean that a woman cannot prophesy? Absolutely not. Paul warns against women teaching in the church that they must remain under obedience, but when he veils the woman who prophesied, he gives women permission to prophesy as well. However, we are not to step into duties that are only made for man, for a man. When you look in the Old Testament, the Judaic faith, only men were priests. There is a difference in our fundamental wiring. There is a difference in our callings, in how we communicate and relate with others. It is a simple biological fact. Now, are there exceptions? Yes. Does that make a difference for what our duties and roles are? No, I don't think so. Tertullian is an early church father that I like a lot. He was in the 3rd century that he wrote a lot of his writings, and he states here, in 202nd century even, "It is not permitted for a woman to speak in the church, nor to teach, baptize, offer, or to claim to herself a lot in any manly function, not to mention the priestly office." So female altar servers, these came into play, it's post-Vatican II. So I have been encouraged by a lot of people. There is not just one of you. There are several of you that keep pushing for me to go to the traditional Latin Mass. I have tried the traditional Latin Mass. It is not a fit for me. I am a Novus Ordo girl. However, I am a truly Novus Ordo girl. I am a traditional Novus Ordo girl. So if I'm going to sit in those pews, I am going to advocate that every altar boy be male, that every deacon, every person that puts their hands on the body of Christ is male. There is something not coherent in the body of Christ when we have women stepping into manly functions. There's a book that one of my patrons sent me. It deals with the night office. Peter sent this to me, and we've chatted about it actually. And we had this conversation because I talk about C.S. Lewis a lot. I resonate with a lot of his works. He was Anglican. He was not Catholic, and yet I really love his writings. So Peter sent me a book. It's about the night prayers. And it's written by an Anglican, a female. Oh, I should relate better, right? And she's a priest. She is a priest in the Anglican order. And Peter said, I said, I'm really struggling to read this because she's a priest and I just can't quite get there with it. And Peter responded to me and said, I'm surprised by this. You talk about C.S. Lewis all the time. He wasn't Catholic. And I was just like, yeah, but he wasn't trying to be a nun. When women try to step into manly functions, it usurps the natural order, it usurps natural law. And in the Catholic faith, in the Judaic faith, and in the history of our religion, every single root, there are manly functions. I cannot even imagine a woman attempting to step into the Ark of the Covenant. Like, the Holy of Holies was always the high priest, always male. There is just, we are called to obedience. My husband puts the budget on a whiteboard in our hallway next to the front door. I hate it. I'm like, guests see this. They come in. They're like, oh, I see you've spent $256.32 on groceries this week. You have $3.96 left. Take a picture, erase it, put it somewhere else. But guess what? It's where it works for him. Do we need to find a different place? Probably. It bothers me enough that it's like, but while it's there, is it my duty as a wife to berate him about it? If he forgets to erase it or take a photo before we have company over, is it my duty to be like, how dare you? I said that I wanted this erased. It's not living in obedience. Am I guilty of that? Absolutely I am. You better believe that after his parents came over yesterday, I was irritated that it wasn't off of there after I asked him to take it down. But did I erase it? I sure didn't. I did not usurp his authority. Now, does that mean that he can belittle me, berate me? Does that mean that he walks all over me, that I'm a pushover of a wife? Absolutely not. Do I hold my boundaries? Do I state what is important to me? Do I do it too often? Probably. But he is the head of this house. And the priest is the head of the church. And by golly, I will slip over into that left line if I see a female at the front of the right one, because I cannot receive the body of Christ from a woman. So as women, we do have particular duties to protect our house, to nurture the family, to witness to each other in a way that we can only relate to each other, and show men that we are respectable, honor our bodies, honor the men in our lives. And it's just it's a bizarre way that everything falls into place. The peace, love, and joy that comes forward when we are obedient to this natural law. That the man would go out, hunt the animal, kill the animal, bring the animal home, and the wife would cook it. Women, we have better memories. Do you know why that is? We had to remember where the good berries were. We had to go to a specific bush in a specific area of the forest. And we had to pick those berries. Men had to go search. They were always searching. They're always looking. They didn't ask for directions where the animals were. They just had to go look and watch and look and watch and look. Women, we knew exactly where the berries were. So, that's it. Like, we have talents that evolutionarily we have evolved into. Men have similar but different, similar ways of developing those talents, but different talents. And it is our duty to hone into those, hone into our strengths, utilize them in a way that promotes our gender indifference, not in a negative way. We are balanced, we are equal, we are to treat each other with honor and respect, but to honor the place of the male and honor the place of the female. My husband couldn't do what I do. He says it nearly every day. He could not be a stay-at-home parent to 2 girls. He would go crazy. And I couldn't do what he does. I could not go to work and leave my children with someone else. So we balance each other. It works out. I love our life. He loves our life. And we're just doing it one day at a time. So those are my thoughts for today. More of just a, recap on my week. So I'm curious about how you feel about it, what your thoughts are. If you feel similarly as me, as somebody who maybe isn't a traditionalist per se, but does respect and garner that feeling of, or desire of fulfillment of the sexes. So I hope you have a great Sunday. Thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you again soon.